Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Birds and Bods Podcast 2. I'm your host, Michael S. Zaitlin, here in Kamloops. Thanks for taking the time to load up and listen. If this is your first time tuning into Birds and Bots, it's my take on the casual dialogue between friends. The main objective is to kind of invite people who are close with, who I'm close with, and who I'm interested in, or both, due to their hobbies, lifestyle, and all that other funky stuff that makes, well, the individual a unique part of society. My goal for you guys, the listener, is, well, it's kind of as if you're sitting around with a group of friends enjoying those real conversations that, well, I guess come about through that natural flow state. I've provided a little bit of an outline, some structure, so we don't fall into that awkward path of not knowing what to say, and eventually, once I get started into a rhythm of being a host, I hope to dive into something deeper, maybe a little bit more research, topics that really matter to the guest or me. Today's on our second podcast. We're doing something a little I thought wouldn't happen until later in the series. I'll be hosting two guests, my roommate Jackson Wilson Grell and his lovely girlfriend Marj Ordonez Amarado. Fantastic. And I'm just gonna get around to there. And as I was saying, so Jackson is born in New Zealand from Auckland, and his girlfriend Marj is from Honduras in the city of Tegucigalpa. And Jackson's a student of tourism management, if I'm correct, and Marj is studying communications with a minor in entrepreneurship. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's good. Thanks so much for coming on the show, episode 2. It's good. It's sweet. I'm just a little nervous all the way, but it's good.
It's alright. So am I. So
Right?
let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Sweet. So I guess to start us off, I guess a good one is, why are you guys studying what you're studying at TRU?
I guess I'll go first. So I am obviously from New Zealand, as you said before. Before I finished high school, I was trying to think of what I wanted to do. And as every other teenager, it's a really hard decision.
Yeah.
It took me a while, and I just wanted to do something that was outdoors mainly, and in like a sort of nice environment, not really a typical office job. So I decided to go into a diploma of adventure tourism management, which was based in Queenstown, which is I guess sort of the tourism capital of New Zealand. So it was a good place to study that. And then eventually, as I started studying, I got into more of the business side of things, and also the motivations of people in tourism and why people travel to different places.
So like a little bit of psychology classes in a sense in tourism?
Yeah, and also like marketing.
Okay,
some marketing classes, which sort of sparked my interest to finish to get my full degree in tourism management. And then I found out about Thompson Rivers University and
TRU.
Yeah.
Find it.
And they've got a really good reputation even overseas.
That's what I'm hearing for sure. In the tourism. Yeah.
Program. So, yeah, that's why I'm here pretty much.
Have you been to Canada before, or?
I came to check the university out, but
so just like that, eh?
No, I had no idea really.
Crazy.
I knew I always wanted to come here since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because of like snowboarding and things like that, mountains.
Are you a major traveler, like your family and all that jazz?
Yeah, well, I traveled a lot when I was a kid, basically just because of my dad's work. Yeah, he was a boat builder, so we traveled a lot with him and lived in 3 different countries, and traveling was definitely a normal thing for me, I guess.
And what about you, Marj? So you're traveling from Honduras. Have you been to Canada before I jump into your degree, just off that flow?
No.
No, not either, eh?
No, never been here. First time I landed here was when I was due to come to orientation.
Awesome. What picked TRU? Was it just...
TRU was kind of a spur of the moment thing, to be quite honest. During my high school, I was kind of aiming for the States.
Cool.
And I had my mind, and I got accepted and everything, but then you know, it was super expensive. And then things didn't, like, seem very well with the shootings and stuff. So
True.
My mom was a bit reluctant in it. And then I came up across with the TRU pamphlet.
That's so cool. So was it actual scouts, or you just kind of saw the pamphlet?
So there were scouts, and they gave you pamphlets during the high school time, but then you never pay attention to them. And then, like, one day I was just like, you know, like, what am I going to do? Yeah. So I, like, started looking over the universities, and then this little pamphlet fell, and it was TRU, and I was like, hey.
Find your truth.
I started researching, and I'm like, hey, like, it's really good. And then, I applied, and, like, 2 months later, I was here.
Easy. Easy access.
That's so crazy.
I know, maybe I'm actually wrong on this. You started with a different degree than communication and entrepreneurship?
No, I was in entrepreneurship.
All the way, okay.
So it was always my main goal. Actually, when I was little, I wanted to be an architect. Then I realized I really suck at math. Like, I'm sure many can relate.
No, it's not
It's definitely not my thing, you know. I like artsy stuff, and I like drawing, and I like those kind of things. So when I realized this, it was like maybe not the best for me. So I was like, okay, I can go into business. I grew up with my dad, you know, managing a business and seeing him, and I really admire that. And I was like, well, I want to do that.
What's he do?
He has 2 companies.
Wow.
He manages a mining company.
Yeah.
And he manages on the side a seafood company.
A sequence?
A seafood.
Seafood company.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's like on the seasonal side, and the full time on the mining. So I always grew up seeing him being an entrepreneur.
That's so awesome.
And I always admire that, and I wanted to do that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I'm very bossy. So
no, hey.
So I always had that. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, entrepreneurship. And then I was like, well, international business would be good. Yeah. Then I realized, well, I suck in math still. Yeah. And then finance I didn't really like it. So then I stuck with entrepreneurship and decided to go for communications. It really interests me to see how humans communicate. And it's a very major thing and it's really good to understand it.
I think I got 2 questions on both those. So, like, I am a university student, and I've talked to a lot of people in different degrees, but even when I think of that, so what is entrepreneurship? Like, my parents are entrepreneurs too, so I kind of know what they are, but I don't know the idea of studying it. And secondly, what is communications? Because both of those are big words you hear about, but you're kind of like, hey, what's entrepreneurship? What are you studying that? What's communication? What are you studying that?
Well, I mean, nowadays anyone can be an entrepreneur, but it's really knowing what it takes to be that without stumbling as much. Okay. You know, you can know how to get a business going. Yeah. But you don't know how to get finance for it. How to hire. What are you looking for when you're saying what types of businesses you should get in? Yeah. What is going on right now? You know, it is preparing you for that instead of you just going, you know,
crazy because you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. And just stumbling, making things worse, and you know, going bankrupt. Yeah. And, you know, just getting into trouble because not knowing. It is good because it does give you experience. Yeah. But then it helps you to understand better what you're doing.
And it's confidence. It's
confidence, yes. Yeah. But at the same time, this is really understanding how everything works and how business work, and you being able to manage a business. You know, not as just a manager. Yeah. But having more vision of being an entrepreneur.
No, it's awesome.
Farther than that and be more creative, not just being the boss.
I think it's really cool. Like, my mom's, she's a lot older. She started her company, and it's a Canadian fitness education services. Cool. And she was one of the first people to, well, even when she was around, there was no personal training, wasn't even a thing when my mom was a kid. And even as she grew up, there's no personal training in Canada almost even at the time. So she wrote books after she got her phys ed degree, and then she started writing books on how to teach trainers to train classrooms of trainers. So it's like a multiplying effect. Yeah. But it's really cool that she had to just figure that out herself, almost broke, legal issues, and all these little things that you don't know about. And like, so she's a phys ed. She wasn't good at the math either, and she's like, I'm going crazy about it.
So it's really preparing you for that. Yeah. And it's also, as entrepreneurs, is seeing what we need. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, you see what the society needs. Yeah. Like your mom saw that. Yes. You know, there was a need for training. Yeah. For a personal trainer, an opportunity, exactly. So when you see that, you get your target and be like, hey, I'm gonna go for this because there's a need for it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really how every business is started. It started with someone having a vision.
Yeah, it's that, like, I study economics, and you can't just start businesses, and you can't. Businesses don't do well because, like, their product get into your mind. I mean, sure, there's the marketing, but you got to sell a product that people want to buy. You have to have that vision, that ability to look at the market and your area, what people really might need.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting in that.
It is really cool. And then communications is really just understanding how we communicate.
Yeah.
You know, it's being able to go up to someone and starting a conversation.
Yeah.
Being able to speak to the public, being able to phrase your words correctly, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your workspace.
Biting your tongue when you have to, right? And all that jazz.
Exactly. And maybe not just biting your tongue, it's wording, you know, it's a major thing. So whether, depending on what field you go, because there's so many fields of communication.
Yeah.
I'm in the PR stream. So public relations is being able to talk to people and make connections, meet people. And that's really, really cool. So I always found that's, I don't know, interesting.
I think that's so interesting. Now to swap it a little back to Jackson, what about you? So you got tourism, you said you switched a little bit on that. What's kind of that dream job at the moment? Like, what do you kind of feel and you wish you could have?
Well, what I'm trying to plan for when I finish my program here is, I guess eventually the plan is to work for a destination marketing organization. So, for example, Tourism Kamloops or Destination BC. Personally, just because I think it's really interesting to see how businesses market to get international visitors and domestic.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, you need to market differently for both.
Yeah.
And it's also really interesting now as more and more, as tourism's becoming a bigger industry, is more companies are focusing on not just the service, but the actual experience that a customer has at their business.
Especially us millennials, which are spending our money on experiences, not on products and goods, right?
So
it's marketing.
It is.
Because it's word of mouth, really.
It's really interesting to see how it's changed, like, since we were kids to now, even.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's...
I mean, I don't think I ever really heard of tourism when I was younger. Like, I know it was a thing, you go on vacation, you see your family, or you're going, like, on a holiday, go camping or something like that, but it's not about this, like, go to Europe, visit all the castles. I mean, I guess they might have had that a little longer, but as we're talking about later, we'll be talking about an island just off of Honduras called the
Little
French Key, and, like, that's an experience, going to this tropic exotic place, beautiful waters, get away from wherever you are, and there's just, it's a huge experience.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with people trying to make it an experience is to see if it's a real experience or if they're sort of trying to just
Walt
put
Disney
it on
World
to make some money.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of the cultural businesses, and I know back home a lot of the sort of natives try start up like tourism companies and tours and stuff to make money, which is really cool, but a lot of it is a bit put on and a bit staged. Is I mean, it's fair to them, like, you know,
they're trying to find capital in some sense, and they're not doing it for the actual trying to show off their culture, but rather they've probably been disenfranchised in their own sense due to colonialism, but because of that they're trying to make money on that, which I get it, but at the same time they're not in it because they love tourism, so they're just doing it as they know it's a way to make good profit.
Yeah, so maybe. It's a benefit and a disadvantage, I guess, right? Like, it's really interesting to see, I feel. And it's interesting to see now, especially, there's more and more types of tourism, as obviously we'll speak on later with the space tourism now. Obviously in Canada now there's going to be a whole lot of cannabis tourism.
That's true. It's true.
Which I just read an article today, actually. Cool. They just opened a cannabis museum in Las Vegas.
Really?
which is really strange.
Interesting. Is it like real, like 1800 or not 18, like 0 BC, where like showing how like tribal people used to use cannabis for that and it moved up and stuff?
I'm not too sure really.
Yeah.
I think it must be like a sort of
It's a museum. It's got that whole feeling to it,
Yeah.
like from spiritual to just smoking the reefer and
again,
fighting the man.
Then again, it's in Las Vegas, so who knows?
Las Vegas, cool.
It could be like, I don't know, something completely different. Yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah. And from tourism, we move on to hobbies, which I would say, I know you're a snowboarder, Jackson. So what got you into snowboarding? Is there a lot in New Zealand?
In New Zealand, there's not many places. There's probably like 4 main ski fields and then a number of private ones, like really small ones. But it only snows in the South Island and in sort of one place in the North Island.
Okay.
And since I grew up in Auckland, which is in the North Island, I didn't snowboard too much. But we went every winter. We'd go on holiday to the nearest mountain.
Cool.
Which is about a 6-hour drive. And I learned actually with my dad and my brother. We all learned at the same time.
Sweet.
And it was just an awesome experience, and it was also part of the reason I came here.
Yeah. From, is it Big White? Is that what's here?
Sun Peaks.
Peaks. Harper.
There's lots. There's Revelstoke.
Yeah. Whistler, obviously. Got the bank as a student.
Yeah.
Right?
So Canada's sort of like the mecca of ski fields.
Oh, interesting.
Well, not ski fields.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Europe's pretty good as well.
The Swiss mostly, right? The Alps.
The Alps, yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. I also worked back home up the ski field, the Remarkables, for 3 years, for 3 different seasons.
Are they remarkable?
Yeah, they are.
Well,
they're actually called the Remarkables because they're I think it's the Remarkables and the some mountains in Colorado. I can't remember which ones, but they're the only ones that run from north to south.
Okay.
Like completely north to south. So yeah, it's just like that's why they called them the Remarkables. I think David Attenborough's been up there.
Okay, cool.
Done a bunch of stuff.
It's a world sight in a way, right? You go
because there's lots of native birds and stuff. Like we have these birds called kias, and they're super smart birds. And so it's really cool up there. Had a really good few years up there. I met a lot of cool people also in the industry. So.
And what about you, Marj? Are you a snowboarder? Yeah. In the hills?
No, I didn't grow up with snow at all.
Right on. Is it on? It's above the equator, right, Honduras, right? By a little bit.
Yeah, almost.
It's really close, though, right?
Really close, yeah. So we're tropical.
Yeah, hot tropical.
Not super hot, so but not super cold.
It's Central America, if I'm correct.
Central, yeah.
So I guess you get the winds of the waters on both sides.
You still get both, but it doesn't get cold. We don't have like really marked seasons, so we get like summer and winter, and our winters are like 7 degrees. It's like freezing.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know? And and our max will be like 40, but it's very rare for being hot. You know, regular be 25. So I never grew up with snow.
Yeah.
Never really cold.
Then what kind of hobbies that you got into down in Honduras?
I mean, major thing was soccer. I mean,
nice.
Soccer is like a
football.
religion.
Right.
So I always grew up playing soccer. I really loved it. High school, I played soccer. Play soccer here from time to time.
Yeah. What was your position?
I was mid.
Nice, like mid defense, or no, what's it called? There's mids. I guess that's strikers. I'm thinking on top, right?
No, that's the mid. So it is.
Strikers, midfield, defense. Right?
Yeah.
Did you what formations you did? We normally just did a basic triangle. I played soccer for 11 years, but we weren't so like zealous on how to play. But we played well.
Well, it depends. It changes from game.
Yeah.
Depending on the coach.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
We have 11 players for sure. Yeah. So it depends on where the coach wanted you to be, depending on the defense tactic you want to use.
What do you have any favorite players? Are you still watching hard, or?
I never watched.
No, so just.
I watch sometimes, of course, but I played mostly.
A kicking passion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I could watch like Spain, for example, Barcelona, and the Spain league, but that's pretty much it.
Well,
yeah.
That's like the biggest one.
Well, personally, like, I'm really into soccer as well.
Yeah.
And mainly because when I lived in Spain, the team there, Valencia, were doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the whole culture there.
The Spanish are good at soccer?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, like the culture there in soccer.
All of it.
It's obviously the same in
Yeah.
Central America, South America, but like, yeah, it's just crazy. And going to a few of the games there and stuff, was like seeing the atmosphere, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's intense.
it's so intense.
Like a live
almost
concert,
like riots.
right?
And, like,
Yeah.
The euphoria of the people, just it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's really crazy, but it's
Yeah.
awesome being a part of it.
That sounds so cool.
It is very cool being in that stadium, feeling like just everything vibrate
Yeah.
around you, and like people just chanting. It's pretty
Is
cool.
Ole Ole, is that just Australia? Ole Ole Ole
No, that's
Ole.
chant.
That's the
and
chant,
everyone
right? That's the one I'm
uses it,
thinking
yes.
of.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Ole 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 Ole. Ole. Awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
I guess that was FIFA this year too, right? Over the summer?
Yeah.
Went crazy
The
on
World
that?
Cup?
And
Russia.
who won that again? It was against, it wasn't Portugal, it wasn't Spain, it wasn't the Dutch.
France.
Was it France? Yeah,
won
because
it. Yeah, I was trying to think for a second.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sports. Do any other sports or any major hobbies?
I like drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I like writing. I like very artsy stuff. I
Yeah.
always grew up kind of during the summer. I would always do like a project.
Oh, cool.
So I tend to build stuff,
Very
paint
home
rooms,
eccy. That's awesome.
decorate.
Yeah.
Just kind of kept myself busy because I was free.
Yeah. To be
so
free.
I was free during the summer from high school and
Oh, sweet.
elementary. So I was very into artsy stuff, and I like to make stuff. And
I hear you said you did charcoal, right? Is that what you're saying? Charcoal painting?
yeah, charcoal painting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I really liked it.
I hear it's hard too. Like once.
I find it not that hard.
No, eh?
No.
That's awesome.
It just came out, you know. I really like how it looks and the vibe that it gives.
Yeah.
The drawing.
The gradients, right? A lot
Yeah.
of with the charcoal.
Yeah, the way you can do everything. It's really, really cool. I like India ink as well.
Do you are you a portraits? Are you a person? Are you an animal? What do you like to draw
I
with?
like to draw nature.
Nature, eh?
Yeah,
That's cool.
I would sit and I would like to go to actually here in the horticultural gardens.
Oh yeah.
I really love just to sit there.
They're
and
gorgeous.
draw.
They're
Yeah,
gorgeous.
just draw. Like there's some really cool trees to draw there.
Yeah.
So I would just sit there weirdly and just draw.
Yeah, it's not weird at all. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so I would always got interested into that one, and I always like writing as well.
Oh, cool. Well, you said poems, right?
I like poems. Yeah, actually, I got published a poem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you recite it? Do you know it off by heart yet?
It is in Spanish.
In
It
Spanish?
was
Hey,
in
we might have Spanish listeners if you want to do it.
No, I don't know. I don't
That's
know. About
okay.
it. It was a long time ago.
That's
But
okay.
I got published. I won it was like a what do you call that?
Here's a question. Yeah. So I only really know English poems. Do you have different styles? Like, I mean, there's the haiku, which I guess is a Japanese one that English use. But do you guys have anything in Spanish that is like that isn't a poem styled in English or main style? Because I mean, anything can be a poem if done right,
Exactly.
right? But there's styles too, obviously.
To be honest, we normally tend to go to the regular, rhyming.
Rhyming, yeah.
Alliteration.
And
Yeah, exactly. The words they use.
Yeah.
I really like poems in
Iambic
Spanish,
pentameter and like the
Yeah,
1 2
exactly.
1 2.
There's people who don't do it.
Yeah.
There's authors who don't do it.
Of course, yeah.
In Spanish, there's this author. It's famous.
Sure,
His
yeah.
name is Neruda.
Neruda?
Neruda.
Neruda.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he makes Spanish ones that are incredible. His words are just very romantic.
That's awesome.
Mario Benedetti is another one. He makes amazing poems. Very famous as well. And his style is very... He doesn't use that. He doesn't go by the book. But his words are... I don't know how he does it.
They have a feeling. They have this
Yeah, they
thing.
have a feeling. And they are poems. They just don't play by the rules. Which is pretty
Bad
cool.
boy, don't play
Yeah.
by the rules.
Yeah, he kind of tells stories with it. It's really
No, it's
really
lovely.
cool. Yeah.
I think poetry, I mean, just words in general are just this amazing power.
Which is part of communication.
Yeah,
For me.
it is.
So it all links together.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's what's
Yeah,
cool.
that's like why I'm into like rap and stuff as well. Is
Yeah.
because of like the whole lyrical side of it and how they put words together
Yeah.
and how each different rapper has their own way of doing it, and a way of figuring it out how to do it, which is really interesting.
Genres are becoming more defined too, I find, with rap. It's not just rap anymore. Like, you probably know this better, but I know there's so like Eminem is a wordsmith, but not everyone is a wordsmith.
No, like well, especially today, there's the whole argument like mumble rap, and then and then I guess lyrical, or a lot of people call it backpack rap. I'm not sure why.
I had a guy comment on my last video. I'm not going to throw him under the bus because I don't want to like throw him under the bus, because it's a good criticism on topics like that, especially since I have no clue what the heck you're talking about, because I don't know mumble rap, I don't know backpack rap. He said to make sure to try and go into that. So like, what the heck is that? What's mumble rap? What's backpack rap?
Well, that's the thing. Backpack rap, I guess, is just another term for lyrical rap. So people that put either really intense subjects or just like really creative words together to tell a story. Whereas a whole thing today with mumble rap is just a bunch of guys sort of
Gucci gang, Gucci
rapping
gang.
about like their riches and and also just like not being able to like it's good for people that want to party, and like there's always a good beat to it, but there's no real message behind it. Which is
more on the beats.
Which is fine. Like it's, you know, each to their own. But yeah, there's this whole sort of divide almost now where the lyrical rappers are hating the mumble rappers and vice versa, which is going to be interesting to see. They should just make them two different genres. But it shouldn't really be an argument.
There's emo rap too now I'm hearing, which they're bringing that raspily voice like.
And there's like...
Oh yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's like rock isn't just one genre, you know? It's like rock's a whole bunch of different
hard rock,
things.
Classic rock,
and
pop rock.
That's what people need to know, like, well, all the rappers that are getting mad and stuff, it's like, well, people just make different music. You know, it's always going to evolve as well as time goes on, so...
I was having this conversation with Kare, my other roommate, watched the first episode, but I was kind of saying, so I'm a huge fan of jazz, and this is more like a random tangent thought that I went through, that the reason black communities are fighting so hard to keep rap this thing, like this connection to black community, black all that, like Eminem's rare to be in that community, like there's rarely any white rappers and maybe other groups, but like it's like rap is the only culture that's still, or music that hasn't been co-opted really by like whites or anything like that. So I find that really an interesting thought, that maybe they're in this situation where like we had rap, it was about the struggle of the black people, it's a struggle, it's still black cultured music, it's about life in the ghetto, or life in just the feeling of being black, even it doesn't have to be ghetto, it can be middle class black rappers and Kanye and the Christian black music. But like now, if you have this group that's just talking about wealth, it's just almost like throwing out that past of like the struggle of what it is to be black. Now it's just about music. That's just from my hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, well, like it's definitely a bit of that, and it's also, I feel like now rap, obviously rap started that way, with like I guess the struggle of not even a black man, but I guess like
society
just a struggle
itself.
of the poor
There's a
member
little
in
white
society.
pushing on a lot of other minority groups in America.
Struggle of anything, I guess. And now it's that hip hop's so popular, rap's so popular, it's everybody wants to rap, and not everybody has had that struggle or has had that, you know, it's just like a 13-year-old kid rapping about nonsense. It's not.
Got that Jolly Rancher cake, got that sweet hit. Woo, woo.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just changing because of that, I guess, because of all the mainstream, and more people grow up listening to it. And
it does have to evolve though, as society evolves with it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. But they should
always struggle in that kind of conservative movement.
Yeah, but then it's like a lot of people like mumble rap.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm fine with that as well. Each their own, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
You know?
There'll be haters forever, and people hate people who listen to certain types of rock still, and you're gonna have people listening to old rap. They're like, all these people, whatever rap is in 20 years or whatever it's called. I'm gonna pause the video because we're gonna move on to our first video, which is on the private island off Honduras called the Little French Keys. And then we'll talk about what we see, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So we just watched this quick little minute video, which will be down in the show notes, called the Little French Key of Roatan. Or is that what this is called? Royal Travel Network. And it's a cool little video on this little beautiful tropical paradise off the Caribbeans, off of Honduras. Really interesting enough that there's pet jaguars in a sense. Now, before I knew anything about this, when I watched it, I was kind of like, oh, is that jaguar? Why are there jaguars? And then we're talking about it, and I'll throw it off to either one of you to kind of explain.
Yeah. So it is a little private island. It's owned by a person. He kind of made it a touristic area, which is pretty cool. It is a gorgeous, beautiful place.
It seems it.
And they have like a lot of fauna, a lot of animals. They have their national bird, guacamaya. Guacamaya, yes.
What's a guacamaya?
It is.
It's like a parrot,
It's like a parrot.
It's like a parrot.
It's multicolored.
Is it a parrot? Like if people saw it, would they be like, "Hey, that's that parrot"?
It is a parrot. Yes.
Okay.
But it's a.
Not a talking parrot?
No.
No, because that's a thing.
Species.
Yeah.
So it's a really big one.
Okay.
And it's like multicolored. It has like red, blue, yellow, and they're really beautiful.
There was one in the video, so yeah. I think so, right?
You can see it in the video.
Oh, it's really, it's gorgeous.
It's really pretty. They have iguanas. They have jaguars. So those are like the main attraction, I guess, they do have there. They are, right now, they're not really available anymore because
of some controversy.
Permits there. People feel they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
They are rescued animals. So, I mean, they have been rescued from the circuses.
So I'll give a little background information so people are like, so you know this information because A, you're in the area, but so your brother is friends with one of the managers.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit more of this background information and you get to hear about, this controversy. And yes, it's bad that there's a form where a private island is owning some jaguars, but at the other side, it's almost kind of like a puppy shelter for raising animals, finding a way to make a profit so they can feed these wild animals. Yeah. I assume the iguanas are paid for to feed them too, and these your birds, the
guacamayas.
The guacamayas.
It is really just owning a profit on actually, making them food. I mean, jaguars eat a lot.
It's like a sanctuary. It is
a sanctuary.
Expensive,
in a way.
I'm sure.
And also it is the whole Instagram thing because people can go and take pictures with them. And this is like people pay for that nowadays.
For the gram.
They just pay for the gram, and it's like major thing. So people are just like, okay, you just go and take a picture of the jaguar and that's it, right? Yeah. But you actually get to experience a lot. So it's pretty cool. I would love to visit. Haven't been there yet. Hopefully everything gets resolved.
Yeah.
And they get them back to their home and. Because they're very well taken care of.
Yeah. Well, I just find it like really interesting from a tourism standpoint. I've never seen a place like that before. Like, obviously there's beautiful island. Like,
I've been to an alpaca farm, bro. The alpaca farm here in BC down the way.
But yeah, like I've never seen something like that with jaguars and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was really curious. And to hear how the people are complaining, but they don't really know the full backstory behind.
Of course.
How they were with the circus and everything. So yeah, from a tourism standpoint, it's really interesting to see how they're going to go with that in the future and what's going to happen. And if because obviously that's like their main point is the jaguars.
Yeah, it's the main
So
track.
if they lose that, then a lot of their market's going to go. So. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Cause issues to these jaguars. The island could go under. I don't know how many jaguars they have at that island, but I'm sure it's at least within the 10.
They have a lot because they have babies.
Lots, eh?
Yeah, so not hundreds, but they have about 5 or 6 or more, I think.
Are jaguars a endangered animal or anything along those lines? I don't really know.
No, that I know of, no.
Okay.
They're just, now I think there's a law now that you are not able to use animals in Central America for circuses.
Okay.
They used to be able to use them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cruelty on them. For me, is seeing that is just plain cruelty.
Of course.
So that's why they were rescued from them. So it is a major thing for them if they lose that market. definitely. I mean, the island's still beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, but there are many islands like that.
Well, there is this big thing that I was going to talk about, and it almost goes back to my last episode, which I was talking about the issues of attention. If you guys watched the video on it or not, that's fine either way. Mm-hmm. But like, we're in this really weird age where, especially with Instagram and things like this, almost like Instagram traps, doing these big tourism events, not just because you want to go on the vacation, but it's just to like make this. Not everyone does it, but it's to make this fake life. You go, you take a photo, you're smiling, you know, you're trying to get the best angles, the best locations. Then you go home, you cry in bed, and you eat macaroni, just like, you know, it's this weird situation where social media, especially Instagram, is
portray perfection.
Yeah, and it's one of the few apps you swipe and you go through it, you see all your friends having a great time, and you usually do that when you're sitting at home doing nothing, just kind of making you feel bad in its own sense.
Yeah, it is super interesting to see that, how like social media has been turning into like a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like celebrities and everything. It's just you know, people are trying to copy that and live that life. Yeah. But it's not reality. You know, you can take a really good picture, and if you're actually having fun. Yeah. I mean, there's always the saying where the moments you don't take pictures is the moments you know you actually have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Or you're just not the photographer guy.
Or you're just not the photographer guy. Or your phone died.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I find it pretty sad in a way, like, even coming here, like, I'm, like...
New Zealand's 10 years behind, bro?
No, like, a lot of my friends, like...
In the old days.
Like, why aren't you Instagramming everything in Canada? Why aren't you on Snapchat? Like, I just want to, like, take in what's around me instead of either showing off to people or not being in the moment all the time. Mm-hmm. Which is another thing now I heard at concerts. There's like banning people's cell phones now, some artists.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Simply because of that reason. Simply because they're just doing it, you know, so they, you know, oh yeah, I was at the Katy Perry concert.
Yeah, it's for the...
They're looking at the concert
instead of really
through
enjoying
a screen,
it.
like you can actually be there and be in the moment.
Yeah.
I think a really cool thing I heard you saying that. So you said about the experience, and like I think that's a really cool thing. That's probably part of who you are as a tourism management person. You see the world, especially as this new growing age of experiences. So rather than like selling it off, I think I didn't really think about it like that till you said it. So I think that's a really interesting side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, that's what life is about, right? Like,
to the tourism manager,
taking in information, learning new things, meeting new people. It's all new experiences. So, yeah, it should be a huge part of everybody's life, I feel.
And that's right. So we'll just moving on into our final segment. We're doing a quick video on Elon Musk and his space travel tourism projects. And we're gonna watch that video right now, and we'll be back in probably instant as I pause and unpause. Now tonight we'll be talking about a channel I'm really interested in called Cold Fusion. It's new thinking. Cold Fusion is hosted by DeGogo. He's an Australian YouTuber. He looks deeper into the history of the world's biggest companies such as Samsung, Facebook, Google, and Tesla tonight. And here we go. Okay, so we just watched the Elon Musk Moon Tourism Explained video by Cold Fusion. That will be in the show notes if you guys want to watch after you listen to us talk about our first impressions. I'm going to leave it off to my guests first, and I'll jump in here and there.
What can I say, really? It's really exciting. Especially, obviously, in terms of tourism, it's something completely new that no one's seen before. I know Richard Branson talked about it like 5 years ago or so, but...
Even wanting to shuttle up above the atmosphere and back down as like a transport system way faster.
Right. It was only going to be like a day trip or something. It wasn't going to be like a 5-day, you know, trip actually into space and around the moon and back. Yeah.
That's what the project about. I guess I'll start with two things. I'll first explain. I know there's a little bit of controversy obviously behind Elon Musk from the whole issue with the Thailand sub diver who risked his life, and I'm not consoling Elon, but I do think what he's doing outside of his stupid mistakes and all this dumb stuff he's doing, still dumb, but he is doing these amazing things such as this. And so the video is a quick rundown on SpaceX's program to launch lunar tourism by using the BFG, which I assume is Big Effin' Rocket. I assume that's what it stands for.
Yeah.
And it'll actually be a shuttle that can go around the moon and back within 5 days, 100-person capacity. And the first voyage will be starting in 2023, only 5 years away, run by, is it Miyazaku? You don't know him either, right? So the entrepreneur is a Japanese billionaire who started Zozo, and that's all I can remember off my head.
Online shop.
An online shop.
Yeah.
And now we'll get back into it and explain why I also think it's really cool what he's doing as well.
Well, yeah, it sort of follows what we were speaking about before with experiences. Like, the Japanese guy said that he wants to share his experience of going to space with other people, and in particular, like artists, which is really interesting. As I don't know, I think for the first trips, I thought you'd want to take like scientists and like I don't know, people that are like astronomers or whatever. But it's interesting to see that he wants to take artists in a creative sense, for them to be inspired.
I think that will help. I think the philosophy with that, it will inspire more people to want to go, which will inspire more private funding and more movements towards astronomers.
Right, that makes sense.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, Elon's target is to make it like something regular in the future for you to be like, if you save enough money, you can actually go and be like, hey, let's take a trip to the moon.
Right?
You know, that would be
around the moon
cool.
still.
Yeah, around the moon.
I want to see what the world rising up above the moon's surface, or proving those flat earthers wrong.
That's what I was just about to say.
Take that, Eddie Bravo.
That would be super cool to see it, and just make it regular. Just be like, hey, if you make enough money and be like, well, let's go, make it affordable as well.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see how long it takes for people to get over the whole safety aspect of going into space.
And we hit cruise ships around the world pretty early once cruise ships were big enough to go around the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there you go. And yeah, it's just really exciting, I feel, and obviously the costing of it, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's going to be really, really expensive to start off with, I'm guessing.
So it said that 100 passengers could go on. The average space flight was $5 to $10 billion. So let's say, like, they'd have to reduce the prices, but right now at $100, 100 divided by 5 billion is, I want to say, 5 million per passenger or more. Probably
more,
50 million, but no more than 50.
Yeah.
So 50 million right now, but they'd have to drop that down. So to get that to $40,000 per passenger is a massive reduction. So
yeah,
it could be like a decade or two from now.
And it's pretty cool though, because as he said, he's getting competition as well.
That's another thing.
And that's just really creating more entrepreneurs and more vision and more stuff that we need. Making it, whether it is eco-friendly or just filling up a gap that there is in society that humans need.
Also, with like the whole space travel thing, don't you have to be trained, like intensely, like fit?
Have zero G.
Yeah, to go into space. So how is that gonna work?
So I guess like anything, and here's my economic style. It's all about supply and demand. So you had to specialize 8 guys to go to the moon. So you had to get a team. You had to train people to train the people that went to the moon. And they're the first people who ever trained people to go to the moon. But if it becomes a popular thing, you're going to start having people to train to train other people to start training people to be astronauts. And that will lower the costs.
Being a scuba diver.
Exactly.
You need training for that. You cannot just like go yourself. And you need... so I feel like you will turn on to that eventually.
You'll get into it. You'll have to probably. There'll be safety regulation and all that crap.
It has to be like a test that you do.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Don't blow up in the atmosphere or whatever. I'm not a physics or astrophysicist, but I'm sure there's stuff they have in mind. But
being able to handle as well zero gravity and everything. So.
But as the price goes down, the trainers will go down, and training to do it will go down. There'll probably be space exercise programs to like get in the right shape and blood pumping or whatever you need to get to the moon.
Yeah. And a base in the moon, you mentioned.
Well, is there any final thoughts on Musk's video?
Yeah, just find it super cool, and yeah.
Okay, then I guess into the final moment of my podcast, I'm gonna. Oh shoot! Did I delete it? Did I delete it? Oh, can I Command Z shit? Whoa. I did delete it. So my question, I can do it off my head. So, is there any things after doing the podcast with me, and if you've listened to any of the podcasts so far, that you would constructively critique?
First of all, I just want to say, like, this is an awesome idea, especially
Thank you.
For like TRU in general. I think you could get a wide range of people interested in this podcast, particularly like getting people from different places, because that's such a important thing about being at this university. I think it's sort of mixing and getting to know people's cultures and, you know, seeing behind people's beliefs and their upbringings.
Just that characteristics that you get. I'm completely with you.
Yeah. It's all the diversity that you can bring in here, really. I really applaud what you're doing. I feel like it's amazing. And yeah, just keep it up.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
And the final moment is out to the viewers. If you guys have any critiques you can add, that'd be fantastic. I hope that next week you get this show going as well next Sunday. But again, as I say, it might be every 2 weeks. I was just lucky enough to push myself for this one. It's not heavy exams yet. Thanks everyone for listening, and I hope I hear from you next week. Adios, and keep growing, keep laughing, keep smiling.